Okay, let's get the easy stuff out of the way first. We're going to be doing a big, long yap session about Summonzon and theory crafting and how to gear it for Endgame. But most of you are here just to see a gear update. There you go. One, there's a Wind Force. There's a G-Skull. My FCR Atma's bricked. And Lucion, somewhere in that. Cool. 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 There you go. There's the gear update, and I don't have lifers fully yet. There you go. All the people who just wanted to see the gear can now leave. Let's talk about endgame weapons, gearing, things like that. So let's start with the things that I tested and where. I think you should know what people are running when they get the data they say they're having or things like that. Cite your sources, blah, blah, blah. I did the Season 12 beta. Probably should, get rid of this crap. Season 12 beta testing on Tier 0 Lucion, which at the time had Tier 1 health. And generally, I don't test as many weapons and just figure out what's the best thing for my class as much as I did this season because they made changes to Pierce. And Pierce now goes through, or your arrows will pierce, instead of 4 targets, they will pierce 12. And that's obviously a lot better. I had a problem actually with this buff because it really already took the focus off of the decoys, which was already shifting away from them, and then made it even more so because Pierce has less effect with hard points when they made the Pierce nerfs. And then to pierce more targets is cool, but it basically means Strafezon is almost always going to be better than Summonzon, and I thought that took away choice, actually. However, I had an excuse to basically go test the new Pierce changes on a new health boss, so I was able to run about 150 Lucians on the beta. And I just tested out every weapon you could think of. I did roll in a 6-socket Wind Force, filled it with ohms, and I gave a few runs on that, and ironically said I'm never going to use a 6-socket Wind Force, never going to buy one, so I'll just do 2 or 3 runs. Yeah, it works, blah, 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 and then moved on. And ends up being what I'm using. But I tested out Faith, Mist, a Gold Strike Arch, Eagle Horn. I tested out all the crossbows, and we'll get to those in a minute, too. And sorry, I just realized I forgot to talk about the crossbows when I said I would. The problem with the crossbows was they were underwhelming. Remember, I was testing Tier 0 Lucion, who I think only has 20% physical resistances, and the benefit of the crossbows is they pierce more resistances. So when I had 15% pierce naturally from Penetrate and Soul Drainers, I was obviously putting 75% SQWE. 75% of my damage into the boss. You could put in more with more pierce on the crossbows, but basically the way it works out is, I think on Tier 2s, sure, the crossbows might pick up and start competing with the bows, but for now, at least on the zeros, the bows were better. And I'll be honest, the bows were better when I was testing Tier 2 in previous seasons, just because they attack faster. So, I do not think the crossbows, like I said, they were just underwhelming. That includes Demon Machine with Abyssal Ward, that includes Bariza, that includes Faith and Mist in crossbows as well. But if it was a weapon that could be used, I used it. The only thing I didn't test was a giant amp stick. Yes, if you find, I know that there was a nerf to rares, but if you find a 600, 700 max damage, amp damage rare bow, it's still going to beat out everything because most Summonzons or Strafezons are using Atmas, and that opens up your amulet for something like a High Lords. Or a GG crafted one or whatever. The point is, getting amp on the bow, yeah, that's going to beat out everything. I don't need to go through those arguments like I do every season where someone's like, well, why don't you just use the GG crafted amp bow? Well, because they're hard to fucking find, jackass. I'm not sure how long you've been on this game, but those bows don't come around every day. So, the end result of doing all those Lucians was, I had a thought, well, what's better? It's obviously good to have auras in the boss fight. Your auras are generally sitting on your mercenary. Well, you can't bring the auras in unless you obviously have them on yourself, so your options are Mist and Faith, and then I guess a Templars for what you want to wear on your own gear while bossing. That presents problems because Templars has a high strength requirement, blah, blah, blah. You can get it down with Rec Jewels, but then you're losing PDR. It's just gearing issues, right? So the question I had was, is level 30-something decoys with an aura better than, say, level 50 without? And on paper, it should be with the aura. If you want to look at my old Summonzon, from last season, which has been gutted, so she doesn't have level 50 anymore. But around level 50, you had about 3,000 min damage on your decoys. Cool. So if I have, say, 1,500 on my current one, but I'm getting 100 ED on all minions from the Faith Bow plus the IAS, these decoys should be doing the same damage as level 50s without Nora. And that's basically true. Because there's nothing to buff, at least on time to kill for Lucion in the beta. Time to kill for Lucion in the beta that I tested. Everything with an aura was better. And it didn't matter if the decoys were, say, level 30-ish, as opposed to 50. It's an aura beats skills. It just does. Now, you can do aura and skills. The person who got Summonzon Tier 2 Lucion killed down, I think just a few days ago, did run skills and mist. Like level 50 decoys with a mist, and that does work. I will recommend something different. It's the Faith Bow and wear it yourself. That's actually why I said it in the intro gearing, why you should probably build this first. It's because it's not only a great starter weapon, that's a low roll, but you know, that weapon can have effectively 500-ish ED on it with the aura and everything else. And you can eventually put it onto your mercenary, and then you can use it yourself for bossing. So why not use the Faith over the Mist? Well, because it's just better. The IAS on there makes the decoys attack so much faster. And it's not just the raw damage they're putting out. When they're attacking faster, there's a lot of dead time with Summonzon on Lucion at minimum, because you're running around trying to get behind the portals and position, and if those decoys are getting off more and more and more shots, it's better than having the mist out. And to give you an example, the time to kill with any bow, Wind Force, Ebb and Bane, Juiced, even a Mist itself, the time to kill on Lucion was like 2:30 to 2 minutes. 2 minutes to 2 minutes 30 seconds for every bow. And then I put on the Faith, and it got down to 1:30, and I could consistently do it. It was that much faster to have the Faith on you than it was to pump skills or use Mist or anything else. I think that is your best bossing bow. It presents some problems. If you put it in a matriarchal bow, which has really good frames, you only need 20 IAS to hit max frames, it's 187 dex requirement. Don't forget, though, the whole point of using one of a matriarchal bow is that it can get those +3 skills, which is more damage, cool, but it comes at that high dex requirement. All the other bows are not equal, but I'd say everything has been mostly standardized out, yes, on all the damage for the bows if you look on the PD2 wiki for the bases. So you can just pick a base that has... Why do you need that one? Just use this one. This one's already on. I'm charging that one. You're interrupting me talking to the people again. Where was I? But if you look at the bases on the bows, I mean, you can use a diamond bow. You could use even a Crusader bow, some of these things that have lower strength and dex requirements, and that's probably the way to go. I don't think I'm going to be pushing super high tier bosses this season. I am focusing on mapping, but that's why I went with the matriarchal. I'm not worried about losing that life from that high dex requirement. All that said, the Mist is still a great option, but not for the reason you'd think. Yes, the damage from the Faith just sort of overloads the Lucion fight and makes it a little bit trivial. The Mist is good. It does have the aura, it has plus skills, it has res on it, it has vitality on it. It's got a bunch of good stuff. The best thing on it is actually the freeze target, because it stops the ads that are directly in front of you because you're firing so quickly. It effectively freezes them, and it makes the mechanics so much easier. So again, I said this would be a yap session. I got to tell you what I tested, what I saw, and why I came to the conclusions I'm coming to. But essentially, I couldn't kill consistently Lucion with a regular bow, just a big damage stick. Because remember, he had tier 1 health when I was testing, a tier 0 mechanics and resistances. But I just couldn't get the damage out. There just wasn't enough damage to do it consistently. You could, but there'd be some time you get caught, the ads would spawn in a weird formation, it wouldn't work. The Mist would do it consistently. And I was like, what is going on? The Faith wasn't even doing it as consistently as the Mist was. So I was like, Concord is bugged. It has to be. That's the only thing. And I sent videos to Wapinator and Cordesh. And of course, the one time I hit record, I said, here's the Mist Aura compared to an Ebb and Bane that's juiced. They had the same damage, same breakpoint, same everything. I was like, there's no way that the Ebb and Bane should keep failing and the Mist should win. And then, of course, when I hit record, I got it down with the Ebb and Bane. And then I watched the video back and was like, oh, I'm just having harder mechanics without the freeze target on. That's simply it. It's not that the Conqueror is bugged, it's freeze target. So I slammed the Cham into an Ebonbane, and sure enough, it became a trivial fight again. So if you're going to use a regular bow like this for bossing, or an Ebonbane, or a Gold Strike Arch, or anything like that, I'm dead serious. Consider spending a Cham rune and putting it in there, because it is really, really good for Lucion. Any sort of crowd control, like I'm using knockback here, or knockback on the bow, the double knockback. They're knockback twice as hard. But any sort of freeze target, knockback, stuff like that, or your slow movement skills, those are also very good. Not used in the fights very often. But those are all great things to help you with the Lucion fight at minimum. They will also help out a bit in Rathma, and, you know, clone is still clone, still pretty much undoable by Summonzons. Though I'm curious if the guy who got the tier 2 Lucion down is geared out. I checked his armor. He's geared out for declone. So I'm curious if he's going to do it. He's actually rocking like a piece and just max skills, and I'm praying he does it. I won't say what bow he's using, but it's an interesting choice, and one I thought about, but I see what you're doing. If you're the guy who did that and you're watching this video, I love the choice on the declone bow. I was thinking about doing that for Lucian to make the... I don't want to ruin your thing. Make the summons on stuff live longer. But yeah, very cool choice. Anyway, other items for gearing out, especially for Lucian. I mean, Rathma's its own monster, and I don't do tier 2 Rathma, so I won't even really talk on that. But Crushing Blow. Everyone is still on multi-shot brain here. Don't listen to the Amazon discussion channel. They keep recommending Deadly Strike to people who are playing Strafezon. That might work if you're a pure Strafezon with Demon Machine or something like that. I will go against the grain, though, and say Crushing Blow on Strafezon is not just better than Deadly Strike, it is infinitely better. If you remember, I think I was the first one to get Summonzon kill on the old Tier 2 Lucian, unless someone got to it before I did. But I did that with the Disciple set, the Demon Machine, but a lot of Crushing Blow. Crushing Blow works on the ads, and it works obviously in maps. So it does have diminishing returns on bosses, but for crowd control and Lucian, it's amazing. And you say, oh, well, I want a little bit of Crushing Blow. No, you want a lot. The more you get, again, I know people hate this, the feel. I was wearing Gores originally, and then just the extra 10% Crushing Blow from those Goblin Toes, you can feel it. And that's exactly what I said on the previous seasons where I used it. You could just feel the difference between 30, 60, and 100% Crushing Blow. It was significant. And around 75 was when that Summonzon just started one-shotting things, because it was the extra 1/8 chunking out that was putting it over the edge into like 1 or 2 shot strafe material. So, and you can get 40% Crushing Blow arrows. So honestly, if I had my choice of stats, it's max breakpoint. Crushing Blow is second. That goes for bossing and mapping. And that's one of the reasons maybe sometimes using something like an Ebonbane or a Wind Force, if you get that Crushing Blow corruption, might be worth it. I believe in it so much, by the way, and we'll talk about mapping bows in a moment. But if anyone has a 4 open socket, you have to box it, corrupted, IAS, Crushing Blow, Wind Force, or Ebonbane, I will straight up trade you that for it. 100%. So, that's how much I believe in Crushing Blow. I'll put my money where my mouth is. I will give the 6 socket up for a 4 with the Crushing Blow IAS corruption. Wind Force or Ebonbane. I would say Eaglehorn too, but no, Eaglehorn needs its sockets. It's got no IAS on the bow. Beyond that, like I said, Summonzon is... And another reason I'm not writing a guide out for this is because if you're playing Summonzon, this is like the testing build. Like, this is the class that needs to balance everything, and there's a million ways to build it. So I think a build guide would actually take away from this class, if I'm honest with you. But anyway, Crushing Blow, max breakpoints, however you can get it. Remember, if you are using, say, this, I pulled my IAS jewels out, your max breakpoint is 157, which is pretty difficult to get to. I got to it with all IAS jewels in here, 20 on the bow, and then I was using arrows, a 7% IAS charm for a while. And like I said, I did do 1 tier 0 Lucian. It was a joke as always, but I will wear the Faith, even though it is so much less damage. Look, it's almost half. It does have much better min damage, by the way, but that should give you an idea about the amount of damage consistency you're bringing into the Lucian fight with this, and with all that Crushing Blow and max breakpoint, it's fine. You don't need that 11k there. It's much better to have your minions empowered and actually, you know, hitting things than it is to just Giga Chad the damage out. Other options for gearing for Lucian, though, and bossing, I mean, it's subjective. It's going to matter about what else you do. As long as you have IAS and Crushing Blow as your base point, you're good to go. Let's go over, though, some mapping considerations. I said, yeah, Faith is best in bossing, probably missed second, then whatever Crushing Blow IS Corrupt you can get. I think it's the opposite, obviously, for mapping because I'm wearing it backwards. The Faith or the Beast Merc will give you better, much easier to hit breakpoints. Even on a minimum Faith, I think if I had a perfect one, it would drop to 50. But it's 54 right now, which obviously when you're using a Wind Force with 20, I mean, or 40 and 20, it's super easy to hit. Golden Strike Arch would hit it. Ebonbane hits it naturally, even without IAS on the arrows. And if you're using a Mist, you're at 20, 40, and then if you have the perfect Faith, okay, one IAS Corrupt. If you got a bad one, you have one IAS Jewel to put in somewhere. That's it. And it's obviously better than just having the breakpoint yourself because your minions are also empowered and firing so much faster. Let me try and see if I can actually show that with... Watch how fast those decoys go off. They activate quicker, too. That's the thing. There's like a delay before the decoys figure out what they want to shoot at, and it just seems to be lower when the Faith is on, too. So watch them here. Yeah, see, a lot slower. And obviously hitting a lot less because they don't have the wonderful attack rating. And see, immediately that goes on and they start actually connecting and doing their jobs. So, the problem again, as I said at the start though, pierce changes. The decoys will no longer pierce as much as you will. They won't do it as often. They can do it for farther, I assume, and go the 12 monsters instead of 4. But with hard points only counting for pierce, it's just not worth it. So go damage. That's my advice. Even if you have to sacrifice down your decoy level for mapping, it's just way better to have a big damage stick. Again, if I had to rank bows here, what you want to use, guys, I'm sorry. I don't care. I love this Wind Force. I will keep using it. But the deaths I had early, like trying to telestomp with this while I was gearing it up, I don't die with the Ebonbane ever. And this one I have to be careful. This is like having a heart attack while I'm telestomping around. I would not recommend this for hardcore. If you're gonna go hardcore on this, Ebonbane, Vamp Gaze, String, like standard before you're gonna even try this. But I will say yes, the higher damage on the Wind Force, which I believe is now the biggest damaging bow in the game with the rare changes, is awesome. It does clear very fast. I probably should put on like a bigger map at the end. Where's a junkie like tier? There's no junkie tier 3s. I want all my tier 3s. I like all my tier 3s. Fuck it, we'll do it. We'll open up a marketplace. No, I don't want to because I want to level. I want to save all my tier 3s. Just open up Horizons. But the clear speed on this thing with all of that, what? 12k strafe, yeah, you're one-tapping everything. Like in tier 1s, I don't even spawn the decoys. It's kind of funny, just teleport around, see everything, it's one shot, and then obviously when you have 100% pierce and you're piercing, I believe there's still a damage reduction for every enemy you pierce, but guys, the density doesn't matter. It mows everything down. Everything. And this is without the decoys. I mean, if you get a pack that isn't dying almost instantly, like, drop one decoy, teleport on it, and spray until that pack is done. So, anyway. Other options, though, like I said, if I had to choose, I would still choose a Crushing Blow IAS Ebonbane. I'm sorry, I would. Or, actually, sorry, even a damage one. I mean, you could put a Burr Rune into it, and that would probably be better. I think you can get up to, like, 700, 750 max damage on an Ebonbane. You know, people keep laughing at it, like, why are you using that last season? Well, it's got the Weaken proc, which is fucking amazing, and it can still be a... Like, people are looking at a 750 max damage, 60 IAS bow, and they're like, that's awful. And 5 skills. I'm not going to use those skills. Alright, fine. I'll still, like I said, trade if someone has the Ebonbane. Number 2, yeah, the Wind Force, big dick damage is big dick damage. In mapping, 3, 2B, I'd say is the Demon Machine. Demon Machine on testing was still just, it was gross. It was worse, like I said, on low density because they changed the proc amount to account for the pierce changes. But yeah, Demon Machine was still just one-tapping shit in tier 2s. It was great. And in slot like 4, I mean, for mapping, it's everything else. It's all kind of very similar. I mean, I think the Ebonbane takes the cake because of the PDR, the Wind Force is second because of the damage, the Demon Machine because of the novelty of the multi-shot and the extra AoE, but then it's everything else. Like, nothing was felt so different that it couldn't be usable in some capacity with your gear up. And this is, again, with the idea that you're going with 65 plus almost 100 Crushing Blow. Eagle Horn worked. Gold Strike Arch worked. Gut Siphon worked. Gut Siphon was actually dope. And then I threw in a Bariza as like a meme, and the Bariza worked. So any weapon goes well with this now. Like I said, just make sure you're at max breakpoint and you've got a lot of Crushing Blow, and the class will go smoothly. In terms of mapping, I cannot think of a better armor than Ebonbane. It's teleport. It's skills. It's faster run walk. And when you have as much damage going out as we do on the Summonzon now, especially the bow versions, with all the buffs they've given it, yeah, just moving quickly is the best. That's why I'm sacrificing damage from the Act 5 Merc I was using. Instead of using a Beast, I'm using the Faith because I want the Vigor aura. Just because I need to move, even with Teleport, I'm clearing so quickly, I gotta move quicker with Vigor to get into position. So, it's just too good. Anyway, if you're going Helms, you've got 3 options, really. You can go with the Valkwing if you're pushing the plus skills and you're getting Crushing Blow elsewhere. But remember, G-Skull, Giant Skull. Or G-Face, Giant Skull. I mean, both of those have Crushing Blow. The Giant Skull has the Pierce, so you don't need to get it on your arrows, which wasn't a problem last season until the arrow changes. Atma's is almost always going to be the best thing you can wear in mapping. It's 25... I know it doesn't go off that often, but people laugh at it like, it doesn't have big amp. It's 25 Pierce, and it goes off all the time. Nothing is going to beat that unless you have amp on your amp bow. I discussed the arrow changes in the last video. You can roll these big 40% Crushing Blow arrows now. I haven't seen a pair. The arrows I have from last season... It's been a week. I've had my filter on the entire time, and not once has my filter triggered to have anything close to that. I mean, I'll give up the skills before I have to get IAS Crushing Blow, and then everything else is secondary. I'll give up the skills next. But my lord, there's none of them. And I've been crafting like a madman and haven't found anything better than that. Again, you have Gores for boots, but I like the Goblin Toes. They have better Crushing Blow, they have some ED, they have some flat stuff on them, and they're cheaper. Rings. Okay, String of Ears. If you're going to go mapping, get some PDR. You would minimum need a String or a Dungos, and Max Res is a great corruption even for mapping, just so you have some protection if you're going to be telestomping with this class. Rings and everything else, though, these are placeholders for now, though that ring is dope. 20% FCR. I mean, you want to get to that 48 breakpoint, and getting 20 here, half freeze duration on both of them, or CBF on your amulet, and then like an FCR corrupt on your gloves. Getting to at least that 50 breakpoint, like you see, that's what's missing on this build right now. It's just going to speed it up immensely. It's so much better to have that higher breakpoint. Unfortunately, you can't hit the extra bit with FCR charms unless you wear 2 of them, which kind of takes away from your skills and other things to be wearing, so I'm not sure that's worth it. Yeah, passive magics versus max damage charms. Okay, passive magics all day. Just trust me on this one. I ran, maybe, I guess, on a Demon Machine pure Strafe Zon, you want the max damages, but I can't think of a situation other than that where the passive and magics with, remember, they add everything else here, too. Having decoys and level 30 Valks is just worth it to me every day of the week. I'm sorry, it is. I know people are going to disagree with that, but I can't. So that is talking about what? Gearing options for bossing, gearing options for mapping. Everything does kind of work, but yeah, like I said, I still think the Ebonbane is king here. We went over IAS breakpoints, which is going to be either 50 or 60 for the Grand Matron bows and the Hydra bows, and the Crusader bows, I believe, too. So that's Eagle Horn. And we went over the very, very important stat of Crushing Blow, which everybody's going to tell me I'm wrong, and Deadly Strike is better, but I'm not wrong. I'm not. I'm right. That's my argument. I think that's everything. All right, I'll see you guys later, and I'll put on a map and show kind of how this, is rolling right now and what it's doing. And then I'll start putting up more Mace 1 map timers to, if any, especially multi-shotters, want to go against it. I'm looking for the smoke, so let's go. All Alright, and here, I'll show this running, I was going to put on like a showcase map. I'll just do it in its entirety so you can see it unedited. I know it's going to make it much, much longer, but I don't have time to edit or write out guides, so here, you can just look at it and what I'm going to do here. Actually, just doing this to get a standard for the map. But maybe we'll get some good loots. Ooh, soul drainers. Shaco, fuck you, onion. The fuck, man? Legendary. Oh, this was a... Wapinator, I'm so sorry for doing one without you. I get a good one. Let's see what we got. 5% drainers given to me. Yeah! Alright, that was gonna brick. Shaco, is that better? Nah, that's... Andy's face is better for right now. Okay. Oh god, I've got to organize my fucking stash. This is horrendous. 198%. Okay, look, what can I get rid of? 166, bye. Don't I have like 3 of these already? Oh yeah, bye. Stone Crusher, the mineral, of course. Okay. Oh, here. Drainer! Oh! I fucking hate the brick mechanic, I really do. I'm sorry, I hate it. They should change it. I want it to, just make the item worse and not get rid of it, so I can at least use throne. Damn. What is it? 178%? 7% life? And cows? Is that cows? Burning souls. Cool. And this is the problem. On the Ebonbane, I would have jumped into that pack immediately, and it's like, I want to... On the Windforce, I'm like, I think it's going to be slower just because I'm, again, not positioning as aggressively. That was when I was map timing against, like, the guy who had Demon Machine with Enigma. He's like, it's just the Enigma that does it. Nah, I beat him on that Phlegathon by a healthy margin because he wasn't positioning as aggressively as I was. That's what the Ebonbane brings. Even with all this, like I said, I mean, you see it does clear a pack way faster than the Ebonbane, but I think on those super juicy maps especially, the Ebonbane is actually going to overtake this. I really believe that. Especially one with I had to, like, mine was only like 600 max damage and was geared out for bossing as opposed to mapping. Oh, and this is why I always have problems with map timers. Timeout! That time doesn't count. Well, you already had the red one on. The red one was on so that you could watch. Thank you, Missy. Back to man shit. Right. Oh, and on the Windforce, one of the reasons I was okay using it was the Twister proc. The Twisters, if you're ever looking at, like, a proc on a weapon, and, like, how much damage does this actually add? It's almost always about 1,000 damage. Like, the Desecrate on Gut Siphon, or a bunch of other examples. The Twisters are the weird one. They're only 500 damage. They don't shotgun, but there are 14 of them that spray out in front of the Windforce. I thought they weren't procking, and apparently I read the thing wrong. They are procking, they're just not on client side. So the thought was when I teleport in, even though I don't have the Ebonbane protecting me with the Weaken Aura, everything in front of me should die pretty quickly because I'm sending out 14 500 damage, whatchamacallits, Twisters. And it does appear like that. Like, I'm not sure if it's the Valks, but, you know, when I stomp onto something at least, it's dying. Everything in front of me is going down pretty quickly. Yeah, and see, this is the problem. On the Ebonbane, I'd be playing like this, and it's, yeah, so much quicker. It's so risky with the Windforce. There's so many times where I'm just, like, my health gets chunked. So I'm afraid to telestomp that aggressively. FCR is also a problem. Getting that 48 is just going to feel so much better. It's not crazy. That for Wapinator. And the worst angle in the game for Summonzon entering this fucking room. Paige, stay alive. I need you alive, bitch. Yep. And this is the other problem, not having the Ebon Bane. You see those Valkyries finally got melted. Just doesn't happen with the Ebon Bane when you got, like, level 50 fucking Valks. They just stay alive through everything. They wouldn't have to bend over for Idio here. There we go. Got him cornered. Die, die, die. And you see the single target, once you can actually get the single target on stuff, is still really, really good. Strafe, crushing blow, good stats. Thank you all. I'm not trying to speed this. I'm taking my time. I'm going to loot this. Oh, all the charms. Thank you. Jewels. See, again, I'd be aggressively telestomping with the Ebon Bane, and I realize, like, oh, cold aura, I need to sit my ass back. I don't know, maybe I just love the fact that I can be so much more aggressive, even if it's not faster, per se. Maybe I'm just massive coping for the Ebon Bane. The fuck? Oh. Junk, 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 probably junk, junk. There's too much loot. Okay, time out. See, like that. That health chunk, that wouldn't happen on the Ebon Bane. They would have come up, hit me. Nothing would have happened. Stone wall. And see, if the pack doesn't die, yeah. Get a decoy out if the pack doesn't die instantly. And it'll almost assuredly go down very fast. I think the problem with using a big damage stick like this is finding that balance and that feel again for when I need the decoy, when I don't. This class is kind of like playing Zerg in StarCraft. Like, it's unbeatable if you do everything absolutely right? If you're Dark and you will always know when to make drones or units, no Protoss in the game can do a damn thing against you. However, if you screw one thing up, all of a sudden your clear speed drops and it's like, I should have put a decoy down there and I would have cleared it in 2 seconds, but I didn't, so I wasted 5, and that's kind of how it goes. Oh, is that a circlet? I'll take that, thank you. On that note, you see it's kind of difficult with Wind Force because it has so much damage it can clear down the hallway farther than I almost want it to. But I'm still trying to get as close to the enemies as possible to maximize that extra range I got, the extra pierce. So I'm going through as many maximum enemies as I can. loot, loot, loot. Alright, there you go. There's a map. I'll leave it unedited. I don't know what that final, like, time was. What? 10 minutes with the breaks there. Probably 8 minutes. Maybe 9. But not bad, considering I don't have the, even have a Templars yet. Do I? No. Damn. Alright. That is it. Endgame gearing, map, silly little, ancients, and have fun gearing out your shit, guys. See you later. Alright, and real quick, I'm going to add this at the end. These are the 2 Lucion attempts on tier 0 I had. This bottom one on length is the Wind Force with IAS jewels in it. And the top one, which when I started talking was right when I ended, you see they're exactly the same, is actually me using the Bad Rolled Faith. And you can see the time to kill on them is exactly the same. Exactly the same. So that tells you exactly how much damage a Faith is pumping out for you in the bossing fights, because that is a min-rolled Faith. It has a mid-ED roll on it and a min-fanaticism roll. There's another 80 ED to pump out on that. So that low, quote-unquote, 1,000 to 5,000 damage, as opposed to 1,000 to 11,000, somehow comes out exactly the same because the Faith aura is so damn important for your ads. Now imagine that with a good Faith roll, the extra damage and a decent amount of crushing blow. Like, that's how good Faith is. A min-rolled Faith has the same time to kill as a juiced Wind Force. That's crazy. The Faith is just so good in bossing. Okay, there we go. And that's... You see the Faith just... I'll actually track the time to kill versus the, And man, please don't brick again. Yes! Oh, faster run walk. What a... Literally the worst fucking corrupt... At least it survived. At least it survived. Anything else would have been a massive power upgrade for me. All res would have gotten me more skill charms. Max res would have been great. That is literally the worst one I could have gotten. Fuck you, game.